Hey friends, I am back with another video. It is a flip through of the album that I just created, my December album. It is actually for year 2016, so yeah, better late than never. But it this album kind of took a strange turn for me. I actually created this really pretty album out of chipboard and paper, and then once I got started, these pages realized they weren't going to fit in there. There's so many pages to it. So anyway, the front cover is just the acetate page, and I placed a cut file from Paige Evans on there, and I used lots of cut files. It's another cut file from Paige Evans, that acrylic piece is from Ellie Studio. I had a ton of pictures from this year, and so I was just trying to incorporate them in different ways. And the album that I created was going to be like a regular opening album, but I was planning to put the binder rings on the inside cover, on the right cover, so they would flip up like this, but the album wouldn't close. So this actually stands on its own, if you can believe that. It does, so I guess that's okay, but I still love it, and it was a lot of work, so I'm happy with the way that it turned out. Lesson learned, right? I used quite an old collection from Authentique. I had paper pad and a lot of stickers, and I've had it for probably 10 years, so I thought I would use it, and I made a very small dent, but I used it. That envelope I made with the We Are Memory Keepers mini envelope punch board, which I absolutely love. You'll see another envelope in this album, and I enclosed it with just a small Velcro adhesive backed piece, and then a piece of flare. I stuffed a whole bunch of extra photos that had some stories to it, which you can see I journaled on the back there, and I just stuffed them in the envelope. And then that is a cut file from Paige Evans as well. I backed it with vellum, and I cut out these really cute little pieces that I colored and put some back in, and then I used some of them in a shaker page coming up. And then I tucked my photos right in behind it, so I stitched it with my sewing machine to make a little pocket. And so right there is just a regular pocket page, and that top right portion has some of those tiny little cutouts from that cut file, the tree cut file, and I'm looking for it and totally forgot that it was just a page before. That's terrible. And then I added some sequins, so that was fun. Those acrylic pieces that are in the other open area from Ellie Studio. Another cut file that's from just a silhouette store. I don't know the designer of it. And then this was just a little envelope that I had in my stash that I took some photos in and just used a clip from Paige Evans pink paisley to fasten it closed. I had a lot to say about a lot of these photos, as you know, most people do. I'm not a big December daily person because I know realistically I can't keep up with it. And I don't necessarily limit myself to 25 stories. I just take the photos that I want and I write the notes that I want. So that is about our gingerbread house / castle. I did some stamping and embossing there with one of my favorite stamps from Lawn Fawn that last year. And I used a partial cut file from Paige Evans, and I used some letter stickers and stamped with an alpha stamp from Carrie Bradford. And then I crossed it out and then put castle because we made a Frozen castle, like the movie Frozen, as opposed to a house. So that's why I decided to title that page like that. So that next cut file is from Silhouette Studio. It's just an ornament. I backed it, and then I wrote my journaling on the back side and just added some stickers. This next page, I used a Tim Holtz stencil and used some Heidi Swapp metallic texture paste, and I knew I was going to end up covering it up, but I didn't want to cover up too much, so I used that vellum tag piece to add my photo to. And those gold stickers, I love them, but there's gesso on it. I really need to remember to go back and glue those down because they won't stay, especially on gesso. That is just a little bag, I'm not even sure where I got it, but I've had it for a long time. I've got some photos tucked in there, and I just use that clip to secure them in that envelope. And then I've got a little journaling card in there as well. This is a chipboard frame that I backed with 2 pieces of paper, but I stitched them with my sewing machine to make a little pocket so I could add my journaling that I'm pulling out with that little clip. And then the photo is of my daughter. She's actually making Christmas cards with me from that year. And that was probably the last year that she did that. But definitely a story I wanted to remember. I treasure the time that she spends with me in the craft room, but it doesn't really happen so much anymore. I covered that 4x4 photo with one of those photo overlays and stitched it. And then that is a cut file from Silhouette Studio on the top. And then the one on the bottom is from the cut shop. And a lot of the ones that look like they're white, I cut them in white, but I usually added some sort of shimmer to them, like with my tonic shimmer pen or some shimmer, some really light watercolor. But it's hard to see in this video. Just some small photos there. Extra photos from our month together. But just small, stories, nothing that required like a whole page by itself. And then I am getting into Christmas Eve pictures where I had my in-laws over, and I'm always a big fan of setting the table real nice, so I usually have to take a photo of that. That page right there, I used an embossing folder from Tim Holtz and inked it with Distress ink before I put the paper through my Big Shot, so it gets that sort of texture with the color. I learned that from Jennifer McGuire. And then I used a cut file from Paper Issues, that like sort of branch. I can't think of the name of it. I inked the edges with some green ink and added lots of tonic shimmer pen to pretty much everything. I added stickers from Pretty Little Studio. There's a big mix of stickers in this album, from crepe paper and fancy pants. That cut file stocking is from Paige Evans, and I really wanted to incorporate with my picture of the kiddos holding their stockings. And because it was too delicate and too small to use as a page, I attached it to a shaker pocket that I created with vellum. So now I'm getting towards the end of my album that it actually sits up on its own without me holding it. It's terrible. I have a hard time editing photos when I'm putting them in a mini album, which is why I tuck them into envelopes and little pockets. But I have such a hard time editing which ones to use and which not. So that page has my daughter, and I stamped that with a Carrie Bradford Studio stamp set, and then realized I did it upside down, so it'd be upside down when I flipped the page. And I was trying to do those back sides the right side, so when you flipped it up you could still read it, but it was too late to go back now because the front had already been created. That edge punch, it's a Martha Stewart edge punch, snowflake punch. I had stitched that on with some ribbon. There's another envelope that I created, and I tucked a lot of photos in there. I just added some stickers. That cut file is from Silhouette Studio. I just added a photo in the middle. It's like a little photo strip. And then a photo of my husband and myself. And just, again, the journaling on the back, which is usually a really convenient place for most of these pages. This second to last page I stamped with, and I embossed it. I can't remember the name of the stamp set now. If you want to know what it is, I can certainly leave me a question or a comment below, and I will get back to you. And I just added a little photo strip there with some journaling of a trip that we took to the outdoor skating rink, and then added some more pieces from that border strip. And then this was the last page / back cover. These were things that I couldn't necessarily fit in. My daughter's list to Santa, our family photo, and then some other like odd photos and pages that I had created that would have worked if it were in an album, but I couldn't make it work in this format. and then just some journaling about that year. So I just stitched a piece of wide lace ribbon to it and tucked those things in behind it. And it's pretty secure because there's quite a few things in there. I did lots of stamping and embossing on some of those. So it's a shame that they're all tucked in behind each other now. But that's what I get for creating all these pages and then trying to put them in the album. I probably should have done that first and then made the album, because I would have made a wider spine. But it is what it is. So again, I'm really happy with it came out, even though it is super chunky and probably not so mini anymore. And with a little effort, it does stand up on its own. Yep, there you go. I have a charm on the side there that I ordered on Etsy. From Emily Inspired, I think is what the shop is called. She has really cute things on her Etsy shop. So here are some still shots of some of the pages, not all of them, of course. I really hope that you enjoyed the flip through and maybe found some inspiration for your next album. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I will be back soon with another video. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.